What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. And in today's video, man, it is an exciting day. We are here with our takeaways from Detroit Lions training camp. That's right, training camp is underway for the Lions. It kicked off today. Day one of training camp is in the books, and we got some takeaways. So let's get it started.
Way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off, and we're going to stand up, and then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap, and we're going to get up, and then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing.
Welcome, everybody, to the video. Glad you guys are here. Yes, sir, man. We're back with training camp. It's just exciting to be back. I cannot believe how fast this offseason has gone. And it's officially time to get this thing started. All right. It's in that let's get this thing started phase. Training camp is underway. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to go over today and get some takeaways, but we did have some good notes from Detroit Lions media. We got some photos. We got some videos. We got a lot of things to talk about. So I don't want to draw out this intro too long. However, I would like to say that I did post a video of the Detroit Lions new defensive lineman Bruce Hector, who the Lions signed after Brian Price retired. So if you guys want to know a little bit more about Bruce Hector, if you guys want to see some film breakdown in my last video, you guys could check it out. I also want to give a shout out to my guy Speak Easy. He supported the Dodge Shop. I appreciate my dude. I just wanted to give a shout out to this. If you guys do get anything off the Dodge Shop, make sure you send me a picture. And shout out to my dude Speak Easy. We got Speak Easy back during the draft, the first day of the draft, and we got to get him back on again soon. Here we are to talk about Lions training camp. That's why we're here. And we got some things to discuss, that's for sure. Now, I do want to start off with the attendance first. Who was there for the Lions? Who was participating before we get into what went down in training camp, and also what Michael Brockers, Dan Campbell, DeAndre Swift, what all these guys said. So let's first start off with the attendance. Apparently, there was 84 of the 89 players for the Detroit Lions in attendance today, which means they were participating. If 84 of the 89 players were there, and we know the 5 that weren't there, that tells me that Bruce Hector was there, because we do have that one roster spot open. So I'm not completely sure, but the 5 players that did not participate for the Detroit Lions today include Austin Bryant, who is still on the PUP list, but as we said, he can be taken off the PUP list at any time before the season begins. Also with Austin Bryant, we do have some good news. Apparently, he was off to the side running with a trainer, so that's awesome. That's what you like to hear. Okay, that's good news. Davon McKinley, who was on the NFI list with Evan Brown, Evan Heim, who was on the COVID reserve list, and now we have a new addition to that COVID reserve list, and that is Jalen Reeves-Maybin. Now, Dan Campbell did say that over 80% of the roster is vaccinated. We don't know who those guys are, but Jalen Reeves-Maybin is now also on the COVID reserve list. We're not sure if it's close contact, if he was actually tested positive for COVID, what it was. If he's vaccinated, of course, it can be a 24-hour situation where he could get back out there. So we don't really know all the ins and outs of this, but as of now, he has been placed on that list, joining Evan Heim. And I really want to see Jalen Reeves-Maybin this training camp, because he's one of those guys that was signed by this regime as a guy that could potentially play some of that inside linebacker role. He's been a huge special team staple in the past, but he saw a season, or I should say career low in defensive snaps last season. However, that could change with this new defense, right? We can see him a lot more. We can see him as that number 2, number 3 inside linebacker. So this is a big offseason to me for a guy like Jalen Reeves-Maybin trying to earn an opportunity. Hopefully he can get back soon. Hopefully all these guys can get back soon for the Detroit Lions to get an opportunity to compete. But this training camp, man, it started with a bang. Let's just be honest. We had Dan Campbell speaking this morning on the Detroit Lions training camp, and he was talking, you could just see the passion out of this guy, the energy. He said, man, I didn't even sleep last night. Like, dude, it's training camp, man. It ain't the Super Bowl, but that's the kind of passion that he has for. He just wants to go out there. He just wants to compete. He wants these guys to go at it. He just wants to run a practice. The dude just loves what he does, and that's what's so awesome about Dan Campbell, the Detroit Lions new head coach. That's what's just so great about him, and he kicked it off with a bang. I got a text from Rad early today, and he's like, man, I'm pumped. Dan Campbell's out there doing 40 up downs with the team. And I'm like, yes, this is what it's supposed to feel like, man. This is football time. And that's exactly what Dan Campbell did. And I should even say, I can't even say I'm surprised that Dan Campbell would do something like this to start off practice, right? That he would go out there in training camp and do the up-downs with the players. So the Detroit Lions, of course, they do their stretches, they do their warm-ups. They did 40 up-downs in their warm-ups. And guess who joined them? Dan freaking Campbell. Okay, the Detroit Lions head coach did it with him. And Michael Brockers said he gained a lot of guys' respect today doing that. Because, look, Dan Campbell's a former player, but he's out there doing these drills with the players. First off, it just shows the passion that this guy has, the energy that he's bringing to go do it with his players. Like, it's like, hey, I'm in it with you guys. I'm not just telling you to do it. I'm watching you do it. We're all in this together. All right. If I'm going to do it, if you're going to do it, then I'll get involved a little bit too. And that's awesome. That's an awesome thing to see from Dan Campbell. That's just who we got at head coach. And again, I can't say I'm even shocked because with Miami, you saw how much the culture changed when he took over as a head coach, saying that, we want to take it back like when we were primates, just going at it one-on-one. We saw the Oklahoma drill. And now he's out there doing up downs with the Lions. Man, I love this dude. The way that Dan Campbell talked about training camp this morning and really just his team going forward, he kind of put it all into perspective, just the way that he's looking at it. Of course, he saw the excitement, saying that I didn't sleep last night, but it's going to be fun. You could see the passion oozing off of him, just the excitement coming off of Dan Campbell. But he also kind of talked about enjoy the grind. The players need to enjoy the grind. Look, this is not for everybody, but you should enjoy it. Look, the Detroit Lions understand that they signed a lot of one-year deals this offseason, and there's a good chance that a lot of these guys that are here this year that you're going forward with could not be here next season, and it's going to look a lot different next year. So enjoy it. Enjoy being with these guys. And he also said the same thing about the coaching staff. Look, coaches, they change. They go get new positions. They maybe move up, right? So for him, he's trying to take in every day, just enjoy working with this coaching staff, this strong coaching staff, in the words of Michael Brockers, that he put together. So he kind of just put it all in perspective this morning before training camp started. He was discussing how this was going to be situational. You weren't going to see a lot of reps for the first team offense, only 16 reps. You're going to see a lot of base sets. The Detroit Lions didn't roll out slot receivers and nickel cornerbacks today. So it was 2 receivers, 2 cornerbacks, their base defensive set, which was 3 defensive linemen, 2 outside linebackers or 2 edge defenders, which was Trey and Romeo. And of course, your inside linebackers, 2 of those guys. And you had your split safety set in the back end. It was just very base today. It was very early. The Detroit Lions did 30 minutes of walkthrough situationally. He said, maybe next year we'll do this differently. Maybe next year we're doing red zone first because it's less running. He was very pleased. He said, we look long, we look fast, we look explosive, we look strong.
Big, we're long, we look strong, we look explosive, and they crushed the conditioning test, so I'm pretty fired up about that.
That they crushed the conditioning test, and they're just ready to go. No words were needed to be said that they were ready to go when they go out there and they crush that conditioning test. And I think that speaks to the players buying in. When the players show up, they're ready to go. They go out there, they crush conditioning. They're along for the ride. They're ready to get this thing started. They're there for Dan Campbell. And no words were needed to be said when they showed up all in shape, all ready to go, all ready to get after it. And that kind of just speaks to the respect that they had for Dan Campbell. And I think that was huge. And that's what Dan Campbell was kind of implying here.
They didn't have to say a word to let us know that, hey, man, we're in. And all that shows us is that now we have a chance. We have a chance. So it's day one. Here we go.
But he did say that he gave his players 4 rules. And a lot of people have been comparing this to, some issues that we had with Matt Patricia. I'm not going to do that, but he did have 4 rules. And I thought these were very, very interesting rules. His number 1 rule, don't be late. Simple as that, don't be late. Don't be late to training camp. Don't be late to practice. All right, be there. And yeah, I mean, that's a pretty simple rule. Don't be late. Okay, that one makes a lot of sense. Some people were saying, well, Matt Patricia was late to his meeting. So he's trying to set it by example. Don't be late. I'm not going to be late to stuff. You don't be late to stuff. And it's also kind of the approach that Michael Brockers has taken as well. He doesn't want to come in and say, hey, I'm a captain here. He wants to lead by example. And I think that's what Dan Campbell is trying to do. His number 2 rule was keep your weight in check. And I think this is just, number 1 is stay healthy. You want these guys to stay healthy, eat healthy, be active, keep working out, but he wants them to keep their weight in check. His weight is a very important part. We saw the changes with a guy like Jelani Tavai, who put on a lot of weight trying to change positions. But whatever the Detroit Lions, however they're trying to utilize these guys, they want them to stay healthy throughout the season. If their weight starts to really fluctuate, then that can change and affect their performance on the field. So he wants them to keep their weight in check. Number 3, don't disrespect your teammates. I feel like that's a huge one. All right. There's a difference between talking trash, going at it, joking around with teammates, and disrespecting teammates that you're going with. I mean, look, you're all a team. Going forward together with this, we're a team. You don't disrespect the guys on your team. And I think that was a very good point. Now, that doesn't mean we don't talk trash. That doesn't mean we don't battle, we don't compete, we don't get after it, we don't joke around. But disrespect is a different thing, right? We understand disrespect is different from joking. And that was his 3rd rule. And his 4th rule is this: don't disrespect the game. Now, what does respect mean? Respect means to admire something, all right? So don't disrespect the game of football. Put your time in, put the work in, put your effort, put your energy in to get back the results that you're looking for. You got to put the things in to get back what you're looking for with the sport. Don't push football off to the side. Respect the game, respect the sport, take care of your body, make sure you're healthy, give yourself rest, understand what the game is, but respect it. Put the time in. So those were the 4 rules that he gave gave to his team. He said, I'm sure you want to hear them. And those were the 4 rules that he had. So very interesting rules that Dan Campbell came up with the Detroit Lions. And I like them all. They're all very straightforward rules. Don't disrespect your teammates. Why would you disrespect your teammate? Don't disrespect the game. Okay, we all understand this game. Don't disrespect it. Put the time in. He said, look, I'm going to treat them like adults. He's told us this many times. I'm going to treat them like men. I'm going to treat them like adults, basically, until I can't. I'm not going to be here and tell you what to do. You understand the game of football, so you take care of yourself, and you come up ready to go, and we're in this together. You know, we'll treat each other like men. We're not going to disrespect each other. We're all in this. We all have the same goal. Let's all work together. We have one goal, and that's to go win some football games. Detroit Lions, the way they've handled things this offseason, I mean, there's just a lot of changes from the top down, right? Brad Holmes, the way that he addressed the front office, I thought that was huge. It was like hiring your organization's first mental skills specialist. And this is, again, you want to treat them like men, but this is just kind of the difference in the approach that Dan Campbell is taking going forward, understanding the importance of mental health. Okay, because your mental is not right, you ain't gonna be right on the field. Brad Holmes pushed for, remember, they added that whole thing to the front office. They added that entire new section to the front office. Garvin has come in and been very involved with the Detroit Lions. They're going to be there, Dan Campbell said, you know, throughout practices, kind of off to the side. Garvin spoke with the team on Tuesday night with their trust, and they're going to always be there for these players. And I think that's awesome. It's just one of the small approaches, but it's a very big effect that the Detroit Lions took this offseason for things like mental health. I mean, the first time Brad Holmes pushes for this and adds that complete new, segment to the front office, and is all mental, all right, not physical. So mentally, you have to be right to perform at the highest level. And Brad Holmes set the tone at the top, the way that he did things, the way that he, didn't just go fire everybody, didn't fire the entire front office. He set the tone at the top, and it's trickling its way down through the players. And I think that's awesome. The players have said, look, this coaching staff gets it, but they're also going out there and they're making these hires. They're giving these young players, the vets, whoever it may be, they're giving them these resources that they can go to, that they can talk to if they need something. And that's going to bring the best, because mentally you have to be right if you're going to play in this league, especially with all the changes. Of course, COVID going on, that's a very big impact that people are not able to see their families. Do have some takeaways. So I'm sure you're wondering, hey, who's the starters? Who's this? Who's that? Keep in mind, this was only the first day of training camp. So as we go through training camp, preseason games, this is probably going to change. The Lions just kind of threw guys where they felt like they should be at right now, and this will probably adjust. You'll see guys move up the rotation. You'll see guys move down. Of course, cuts will affect things. So just keep in mind where we're at right now. It's only the first day, and this is only the first time you got to really see them through training camp. So these things are going to adjust and change as we go on. But I did want to show this first. So when you look at the offensive side of the ball, this is the offensive line and what we saw today. Now, the Lions are missing guys like Evan Heim for center, Evan Brown. They're missing offensive linemen. They're missing depth here, but they also have a lot of young guys, a lot of UDFAs, guys competing for spots. So the Lions have a lot of question marks, which means that they had to have guys cross-train, work in different spots. And you see the starters, no changes there. Decker, Jackson, Ragnow, Big V, Sewell, all, what we expected. But a big name here is Terrell Crosby. Crosby, who was the backup left tackle for the Detroit Lions heading into this season, has also gotten work just in the first day of training camp, and we could expect more of this at different positions as well, including left guard and also right tackle. Terrell Crosby, if he's going to give you that ability to sub in at different positions, it's going to be awesome to have him as kind of like the next man up, where you can trust that can play at different positions, where if something does happen, you can kind of plug him in, and you won't see a drop in terms of the offensive line's production. And that's what Terrell Crosby has been bringing to the table for the Lions, and now working at different positions is really cool. Behind him, you see Dan Skipper. At left guard, Jonah Jackson. Behind him, though, you get Tommy Kramer, the UDFA out of Notre Dame, and also, like I said, Terrell Crosby doing some work there. At center, because again, there was no Heim, Tommy Kramer also got some work here as well as the third center. Above him was Drake Jackson, who has worked as the backup center out of Kentucky, and of course Frank Ragnow. We all know about Frank. At right guard, we have Big V, but this is interesting. Logan Stenberg taking the second reps at right guard. Behind him was Matt Nelson, so he's working a little bit at guard and tackle as well. So we're seeing this cross-training across the board, but I think it's interesting that a guy like Logan Stenberg got some work at right guard. Okay, a little bit different. Remember him as the left guard, but now he's getting some work at right guard with the second unit. I'm excited to see what Logan can do. Hopefully we get to see some snaps from him. And then, of course, at right tackle, Sewell. Behind him, Matt Nelson and Darren Paulo, who the Detroit Lions added from Denver this offseason. So that's just kind of how the offense line is looking, kind of how the necessity lines are having to move guys around because they're missing some players right now due to the COVID list, things like that. But it also gives you an opportunity to see guys work at different positions. I mentioned before, offensively and defensively, it was a lot of base packages. So we didn't see slot receivers. It meant guys like Victor Bolden and Khalif Raymond and, of course, Amon-Ra St. Brown. They had to line up at outside positions because there were no, sub packages. So you had Victor Bolden and Khalif Raymond actually on the field at the same time. Two guys that are competing for very similar positions, it seems. But apparently looked pretty good when they were on the field at the same time. There's a chance that both to make the team. It doesn't seem easy, but there is a chance that that happens. Now, Khalif Raymond has played outside receiver in the past, so it's not completely new to him. But that could be an interesting thing that the Detroit Lions could utilize this season. At the tight end position, Hawk and Fells were the 1 and 2. No craziness there. However, Alizé Mack was the third tight end, and apparently he looked the part. He stood out as the third tight end. It seems like he definitely has a really nice cushion as that third tight end right now heading into this season for the Detroit Lions. And I would say if you're wondering who that's going to be, lean towards Mack, because for a while now we've been talking about it. We saw it in the OTAs, we saw it in minicamp, and here he is again as the third tight end. PP, you're probably wondering what the heck that is. It means personal protector. It's a special teams position. It's really the last line of defense for the punter. He's the closest guy to the punter. In the past, that was CJ Moore holding down that responsibility, protecting a guy like Jack Fox. However, so far through training camp, again, only one day in, it was Sage Surratt and also D'Angelo Amos who were getting reps there as the personal protector for the punter. So that's interesting. It could be a role where a guy like Sage Surratt specifically, or even maybe D'Angelo Amos could find their way onto the roster with that usage. And if you remember, Dan Campbell said that these young guys are going to play a lot of special teams early. And of course, on the left, Jack Fox was the punter. Apparently, he had some misses, but when he got a hold of it, man, he booted that thing. But at returner, the position gets a little bit smaller. It's starting to we're really getting an idea of who that's going to be. Khalif Raymond got the first team reps. Behind him was Victor Bolden. Again, two guys competing for very similar spots as a returner position. And Tom Kennedy as well, who shows some speed. And then St. Brown has gotten a little bit of reps there, but nothing serious. It doesn't look like he'll be a top returner. However, if the Detroit Lions needed him in a pinch, he could do it. He did it back in high school. He did it a little bit in college, specifically as a punt returner. So I'm trying to put a little diagram together of who was playing where based on what I've read. And one thing that's important to note here is that we're seeing, yes, a lot of these young rookies, they're very low in the depth chart, and there's really no issues with that. Let them work their way up the roster. Let them earn those spots. Again, it's only the first day of training camp, so this will change, but let them work their way up. Right? Let them work their way up, earn these roles. Just because you're drafted doesn't mean, hey, you're a starter. You got to earn that role. And I think that's what we're seeing a little bit. But the Lions have depth at certain positions where they don't have to do that. Now, at nose tackle, Lee McNeil was the number 1 nose tackle for the Lions. Behind him, of course, was John Pennicini. So Lee McNeil, the 3rd round pick, who I think is very NFL ready. When you watch him, he's played for a while in college. He looked very NFL ready. A guy like Levi didn't seem as NFL ready, but his upside was really just through the roof. So he's one of those guys. So for me, nose tackle Lee McNeil being the number 1, not really surprising there because he was very NFL ready, and that's why I liked him a lot. Watching his film, I was like, dang, this dude could have been a 2nd round pick because he was just ready to go. Levi's upside is crazy, but Aleem is ready to go. Same thing with Penei Sewell. He's getting those first team reps as the right tackle. Levi's been pushed a little bit down the depth chart, but he's not the only one. Levi, Derek Barnes, Iffy, all these guys have been pushed down the depth chart a little bit, and they're kind of working their way up. Nick Williams and Deshaun Hand are holding down that 3-4 defensive end role. Again, this is in base sets, and Levi was behind those two guys. And then on the other side, we had Michael Brockers. So Nick Williams, a guy that we saw last season who took the pay cut, him and Deshaun Hand, a guy we've seen, he's just dealt with some injuries that Todd Wash said he could be special. Those two guys right now are above Levi. Of course, that could change when the season starts. Have some experience and some potential, specifically with a guy like Deshaun Hand. So there's no need to really force Levi into being a starter if you don't need to. So that's what's actually kind of nice, is that he can develop at his own speed here. At cornerback, we were wondering who were going to be the top 2 guys, right? It was going to be Dunbar, Amani Okudah, who are going to be the top 2 out of those 3. And right now, at least through the first day of training camp, it seems to be Amani and Okudah holding down the 1 and the 2. All right, now I'm assuming Okudah's the 1, but they seem to be holding down the 1 and the 2, as when they went to special teams drills, Dunbar went over, got some work as a gunner, but Amani and Okudah did not. The cornerback depth, you see Amani. Behind Amani, you get Michael Ford. Again, there was no nickel, so we didn't get to see them line up at slot, so we don't really know who that's going to be, but he did work as an outside cornerback, basically with the second group with Quint Dunbar. So that's a really good look for Michael Ford when you talk about who's going to make the team. Ford seems to be really positioning himself well so far. Behind Ford, we had Brown, the player from Kansas City. Didn't play a ton there, but this is kind of one of those names that's easy to forget. However, he was behind Ford. Of course, on the other side, you see Okudah, Dunbar, Corn Elder working with Brown, and then Iffy behind those guys. So Iffy was very low in the depth chart, but again, there's no reason to force him into a spot early. Cornerback can take a lot of time in the NFL to adjust and transition, so there's no need to force him into a big role right away if he's not ready to go. Now, he's an interesting one because I think there's a lot of versatility within his game to line up as the extra defensive back. Again, it's only the first day of training camp. And at linebacker, now these are very projected because we didn't hear who the starters starters were, so I don't know who the Will or the Mike were. I'm assuming it was Alex Anzalone from what I did hear about the play that he made against Jamar Jefferson. I have him listed at Mike, and Will, I have Jamie Collins, assuming those two are the starters. Back of Will, I don't know, maybe it's Devy, I really don't know, but because there was no Jalen Reese-Maybin, Sean Deion Hamilton got the opportunity to run as the Mike linebacker with the second group, and then behind that we saw Derek Barnes. Now Derek Barnes, we did see after practice get to talk to Chris Spielman, and that's one of the benefits that he has. That's an awesome benefit for a young player too. Get to just go talk to Chris Spielman. Like, yeah, that's pretty darn awesome. So Derek Barnes, another one of those guys kind of low, but again, I think that's okay. Or earn your roles, man. Work your way up. They're young guys. You know, if you don't have to force them into a role, that's a good thing. You don't want to have to force young guys into positions if you don't have to. If they're ready to go, if they're ready to take it, they'll take it. They'll earn that role. They'll take that role eventually, and by the time we're in the regular season, they'll be the starters if they earn that role. But right now, the first day of training camp, there's nothing wrong with being low in the depth chart. At the safety position, no surprises, T-Walk and Will Harris holding down the split safety look. Behind T-Walk, we saw some CJ Moore and Dean Marlowe. Did get a few on the field notes from the first day of training camp. The running backs continue to be a huge part of the passing game, whether it's Swift or Jamal, who just seem uncoverable still at this point. Jamar Jefferson did have a bobble that turned into, I guess he called a drop or a pass breakup by Alex Anzalone, who laid a big hit. He didn't have a lot of opportunities back in college to catch a lot of passes. They didn't throw it to him that much, but that's one place where he has to really prove himself. We can expect some big receiving numbers from these running backs, whether that's lining up from the backfield or also lining up as receivers this year. One player has switched positions for the Detroit Lions heading into training camp. So day one of training camp, we have a guy that went from safety to running back, and he's never done this in the NFL. Didn't do this back in college, but he did do it back in high school. This is Godwin Igwebuike. I know I'm messing up his last name, so I'm just going to stick with Godwin. I'm going to have to learn his name, especially if he goes out there and makes the team. But he has switched from safety to running back, and for him, it probably gives him a better opportunity to make the team, for being honest, because safety is kind of deep. Yes, a lot of young guys, a lot of unproven guys, but it is deep. Dean Marlowe, Elijah Holder, you got Bobby Price, CJ Moore, Jalen Elliott, D'Angelo Amos, and then Tracy Walker and Will Harris as the starters. A lot of guys to beat out there, right? But running back's a little bit lighter because you have Swift, Jamal, their locks, Jamar Jefferson, the 7th round pick, but then it's Michael Warren, it's Dedrick Mills. He has an opportunity to potentially work his way up to there and surprise some people. This is a guy that played running back in high school. He was a UDFA out of Northwestern. He was a stud. Over 300 total tackles, 7 interceptions, just a playmaker, 23 pass defended. But back in high school, he played running back, and he had to decide at Northwestern, do I want to play defense or offense? Do I want to be safety or do I want to be running back? He went with safety, and it got him into the NFL. He spent time with multiple teams. He started with Tampa Bay, San Francisco, Eagles, the Jets. Heck, he was even in the XFL playing with the Dragons, and now here he is with the Lions. And he hasn't really been able to find a consistent home playing that safety spot. So the Lions, and that's why I love what they're doing, they're not forcing him to a spot that's like, hey, you're a safety, you're going to play safety. Okay, let's give you a shot at running back. Why not? Let's see if we can find some success here like you had back in high school. So it's not completely new to him. Back in high school, he played in a spread offense, so he ran out of the pistol, ran out of the shotgun, working on his pass catching drills after practice today. But this dude, when you look at his relative athletic score, he has the numbers of a running back. Agility is elite. A 4.4440, a 10-yard split of 1.57 seconds, and he's strong. 19 bench press reps. That's a lot of bench press reps for a running back, and he has good size. 6 foot 212, great size, very similar to Jamar Jefferson. Back to watch his huddle from high school, the dude is shifty as heck. I mean, man, a little stutter step dead leg that's just, whoa, it's nasty, man. His ability to change direction. And of course, this is high school. The competition level is definitely not the same. And this was a while back, and they're just highlights. But man, he was fast. His change of direction. He was setting up defenders, just breaking ankles. I was like, dang, this guy is shifty. He's definitely got that. So for the Lions, it's going to be fun to watch him through training camp to see how he does, because he had 1,900 rushing yards in high school, 29 rushing touchdowns. The dude was an all-state running back in high school. He was a stud. He just chose defense, and he's been doing that, but he hasn't been able to find a home. So maybe now going to running back gives him that chance to find a home. His agility is elite. You can see it by the RAS scores. Going back and watching his high school highlights, I was like, dang, this dude's fun to watch with the ball in his hands. And he played in a spread offense anyways, pistol, shotgun. Why not? Why not try it out, see what you can do? And even DeAndre Swift gave him a little bit of credit today, said he looked good out there. You know, he's a guy that gives great effort all the time, and he looked good out there. Most of practice today he spent talking with veteran coaches, probably Deuce Staley. That's the perfect mentor to have, by the way. And also some of the vet running backs, probably Jamal Swift. But then he did mix in a little bit. And, you know, like I said, after practice, he was working on his hands, pass catching, because you're going to have to do that if you're playing running back. He's going out there, he's diving right into it. He's not holding back. He's like, okay, I'm going to get some reps. I'm going to work after practice. I'm going to work on things that I know I need to improve upon, and I'm going to give this thing a chance. We saw Jamal Agnew do it. He got a pretty nice deal with the Jaguars. It's nice to see the Lions are not forcing him into a spot. They're going to let him do it. Hey, you want to try offense? Let's do it. Godwin, moving to running back, big transition there. We'll see how it goes, but he's doing it early in training camp, and I'm excited to see it because, man, I'm telling you, if you want to have something fun to watch, Godwin's high school film, go watch his huddle. Go watch his huddle highlights, man. This dude's, he's shifty as heck, man. He is shifty as heck. I know it's high school, but dang, and he's fast. He could be that burner from the running back position that the Lions really don't have. So, hey, maybe there's a shot here. There's a chance. He's got the build for it. Why not try it out, see what he can do? Ted Hansen had a nice grab over the middle where he got a nice little fist bump from Dan Campbell. Jared Goff today, again, only 16 reps with the starting unit. He threw 4 passes, and of those 4 passes, the man went 4 for 4. And that sounds pretty darn good. We'll take that. But Jared Goff seems poised and ready to go. I mean, we've heard a lot of good things. He's been pretty much off to a fast start. He's got a little bit of that chip on his shoulder, and today he was 4 for 4. Now, I just want to see that freedom working with this offense, the ability to adjust things, and he's still trying to pick up on this scheme and learn Anthony Lynn's offensive scheme, but they're trying to game plan it around what he's comfortable with, and so far the results have been pretty good. 4 for 4 today, just like at Wendy's. Tyrell Williams had a short completion. Dedrick Mills had a completion as well from Jared Goff. That's big for Dedrick Mills. I could see him being the 4th running back for the Detroit Lions. He seems to me to be in that position right now as the final running back to make the roster, a guy that could play like an H-back, can block and pass catch, is what we've heard today, as he had a completion thrown his way, and also run the football, run block and pass block. Khalif Raymond had a completion from Jared Goff, and TJ Hockenson, which apparently was on a blown coverage, but you already know Hockenson's going to have a big year this season, so no surprises there. But Jared Goff looks good. His footwork looks really good, stepping into passes. He looks very smooth and just ready to go. Jared Goff looks very comfortable is what we're hearing. Now, I'm excited to see this in person and get more clips of this. Jerry Jacobs had a couple of pass breakups today. I don't know where he was at on the depth chart, but he did have some nice PBUs. Jerry Jacobs, that dude, Jerry. We got to get Jerry Jacobs on the show, man. Lee McNeil got a little bit of praise today from Frank Ragnow, who said, man, that guy is just quick. He's very quick and twitchy for his size. Of course, playing the first team reps, going head-to-head against Frank Ragnow. Now, they didn't have pads on, but they're out there, and he's with the first team. So, Lee McNeil, to me, man, he's going to be ready to go. He's going to be NFL ready right away, unlike a lot of rookies. He just has that in him. Alex Anzalone made a nice play. Alex Anzalone's a stud in coverage. I mean, you can look at the numbers. He's a really good coverage linebacker. It's not easy to find those guys, but he's one of the better ones in football, and that's why I was so pumped when we signed him. So I'm excited to see what AA can do this season. You know, his nickname is Thor, but maybe we should call him Double A, like Double A batteries, you know, like, hey, Double A batteries, you know what I'm saying? Bring the energy. Thor, doesn't he do something like lightning? That's like energy, like batteries, Double A batteries, Double A. Can I get some Double A batteries? Can I get some Verizon? Practice, we got to hear from Michael Brockers, and he said this. He's doing it the right way. Speaking of Dan Campbell, he's doing it the right way. He put together a good coaching staff. Young players are buying in when he's doing things like the 40 up downs before practice. That's just the tone that Dan Campbell is setting. But we knew this because he did the same thing back in Miami, implementing the Oklahoma drill, having guys going at it one-on-one. He wants those kind of practices. He wants the energy practices where guys are battling, competing. He wants every snap, every down, guys competing, guys battling. And we're not in the pads yet, but trust me, when the pads come out, you're going to see some explosive practices. That is for sure. He will make sure guys get rest. He did it at Miami as well. It's not like he overworked the guys. He just wanted them to compete when they were on the field. Keep hearing the good things from Michael Brockers and young players buying in. Even DeAndre Swift brought it up today. Swift is a young player. We forget this guy's only going into his 2nd season. But even DeAndre Swift, who was with Patricia last year, now with Dan Campbell, said this: sometimes you forget to have fun, right? This is a children's sport. You forget to have fun in the sport, and you can't do that. You have to have fun. And that was something that multiple players brought up, was that they're just having a lot of fun out there. Dan Campbell wants this to be fun. He wants guys to compete because competing is fun. It is. If you enjoy what you're doing, competing is fun.
Energy out here is a lot different. Guys smiling, having fun. people kind of forget to have fun playing this game, playing the kids' game.
The energy is different. Simply put, the energy is different. Romeo Okwara, having fun out there. Everybody's saying it. Everybody's saying the same thing. It's something that the Lions lacked. It was something that we were looking to get back to. It's something that the Lions had a little bit more of when Darrell Bevell took over. And now it's something we can expect with Dan Campbell going forward, is that players are going to have fun on the field. Michael Brockers, being the vet that he is, he's trying to lead by example. What he does is, he'll goof around with guys. He'll talk some crap during practice, and he does that to really feel out the players, understand them, pick their brain a little bit. Hey, is this guy someone I joke around with? Is this a very serious player? So it's one of the ways that he does that. That's what's important about having a vet. Little things like that. A guy that will lead by example, not coming in with a big head. I'm a captain. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to work my butt off. He brought in guys like Deshaun Hand to work with him. We're going to work this offseason. We're going to go out there. We're going to compete, and I'm going to lead by example. Okay, that's how he's going to be a leader for this team. Not by saying I'm a captain because I've been in the league for a while. Did state that the coaching staff has been talking a little trash. Specifically, Aaron Glenn said some dude was crying. I don't know what he's talking about. However, this is the kind of coaching staff the Lions put together. Brockers over and over credits it. I credit it a ton. It's a great coaching staff, but you got a lot of former players. You know it's going to get competitive there. Players are like, oh snap, he's got our back. Let's go do this. When you're feeling tired, when that coach brings that energy, starts talking smack, you're like, oh, we got to back him up. That's our coach. The defensive side of the ball. Got to go at it with the offense. Got to go at it with Anthony Lynn a little bit. That's what this coaching staff brings, full with former players and also just guys that bring that buzz and the energy to the game. Deuce Staley, right? Antoine Randall L. When coaches go at it, it brings out the players. That's what the Lions basically have going on here. And that's awesome. I promise you, that's what gets players going. It gets them motivated to have coaches like that. Tucker said this, and I absolutely loved it. He said, a lot of people are still doubting us, but we'll be all right.
You have a lot of guys buying in. You have a lot of guys trusting in the process and just coming to work, man. It shows on the field. You won't see it now. A lot of people still are doubting us, but, that's okay. As long as we come in every day, focus one day at a time on what we have to do, we'll be all right.
The DeAndre Swift talking about having fun. Romeo Okwara. Romeo Okwara also brought up standing up is not something that's completely foreign to him. He's done it in the past, right? He did it at Notre Dame. He's done it even a little bit probably in the Lions scheme as well in the past. But he said he's just getting used to his get off. He does think it's going to bring the best out of him, but he's getting used to the stance. It's just some of those things that you have to get used to. Like Penei Sewell going to right tackle. Got to get used to it. Got to get comfortable with it, right? Got to get back into this. Even though he's done it in the past, kind of got to get used to it. And that's what this time is for Romeo Okwara. But he said that, we finished 32 in a lot of defensive stats last season, and it was embarrassing. Actually, all the players that were here last season, they want to go out there and they want to make a difference this season. They want to flip that narrative, the worst defense in Lions history. That's something that you should write down, put on your wall. We were the worst defense in the franchise's history. We were a part of that. Now we got to be a part of, even Michael Brocker said, I'm a part of the new era. We are a part of that. That's bulletin material. Great. Now let's be a part of this new era going forward. Brockers brought up that Dan Campbell, you can see the dude's excitement. I mean, heck, we could see it in the presser. But he said just the way he addresses the team. Dan Campbell has said, look, it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. The sport's not for everyone, but that's what's great about it. It's about competing. It's about going after it. So, Dan Campbell's going to bring this energy. He's going to be bringing it all off season. He's going to bring it all season long, and I'm excited to be along for the ride with Dan Campbell. This dude just brings it. Now, after practice, we did get some extra work from certain players. Actually, a lot of players put in some extra work. I know we saw the clip of Amon-Ra St. Brown catching some passes on the jugs machine, and it was like, dang, he's putting extra work, but he wasn't alone. He was doing this drill with Khalif Raymond as well, who's also a receiver for the Lions, and Godwin, who has transitioned to running back to work on some of those pass-catching drills. It's important for Godwin to be a good pass catcher out of the backfield. If he's going to make this team as a running back, you got to be able to catch some passes. So Godwin was also getting involved in the jugs machine. The edge rushers were all basically there after practice. From Robert McCray to Julian Okwara to Charles Harris, working with Trey Flowers and Romeo Okwara. That's setting by example. That's leading by example. Trey Flowers, Romeo, staying after practice, which makes the other young guys want to come along with them and work after practice. So a lot of work after practice. Nose tackles, John Benicini and Lee McNeil, they were both going at it, working on their punching power, working together. They're going to push each other. Two young guys, both fighting for playing time. They're going to push each other, and that's what you love to hear. So really, first day of training camp, I would say, is a success. I can't say I'm surprised that Dan Campbell would go out there and lead by example like that. Campbell will go out there, do the 40 up downs with the team. That's just who he is. That's just the energy that he brings. He wants to be there. He loves to be there. And that's what's so infectious. And that's why players are going to buy in. And that's why Dan Campbell said, look, they didn't have to say anything. When players all show up in shape, they go and crush the conditioning drills. They're ready to go. These players are on time. I gave them 4 rules. I'm going to treat you guys like men. All right, we're going to give you the resources you need, someone to talk to, but we're going to go out there and we're going to compete. And I'm a part of this. I'm along with the ride. I'm not just off to the side, telling you here's what to do and watching. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to do it with you. I'm going to lead by example. I'm going to keep myself in shape so that I can do these drills with you guys. So if you guys put that time in, I'll give you my time right back. And I think that's what Dan Campbell kind of said. That's the message that he sent. And players, when they see their coach doing workouts with them, you're like, oh, wow. Okay, yeah, now I want to work even harder because now you see the coach doing it with you. And it's like, man, if he can do that at his age, I can do it at my age, right? And it brings the best out of players. This is what the Lions are building here. They're building a culture togetherness. There's no separation. We can't be separated. From the top down, Campbell, Holmes, we're going to work together. A true alpha knows when to concede, right? We're going to work together on this. And now you see it on the field, right? Hey, no disrespect. We're going to respect each other. We're going to respect the game. We're going to go out here and compete together. We're building a strong culture, a strong foundation, because when things waver during the season, we need to be able to go back on that and say, hey, look, we're in this together. We're going to have our ups, we're going to have our downs, and we need to know how to respond to that. And if you're a tight group, you're going to be able to respond. Let me know your thoughts, comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.